Okay, Paulinho, as I said, man,
Okay.
don't give him some candies, because the guy is starting talking and explain a lot, So it is good, as I said, it's our opportunity. Yeah, now it's recording.
Yeah, I
Finally.
see. They
Okay.
asked me, okay.
So now
As
that
I
it's
said, no, as I said, it was just a briefing, and let's follow our agenda, because
Yep.
it's going to be better for everyone, And as I said, the first topic is Claude just explained the fauna marine. Just says that's it, and then we can just moving forward on the topics. I think it's going to be better in this way, Claude. Are you agree? Do you
Yeah,
agree? I'm sorry.
yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
Abílio,
Claude, Claude, my English very bad. In moments, I'm talking for Portuguese, my friends. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Sorry.
Abílio, você acha que, vamos dizer assim, como nosso líder, você quer fazer uma introdução, cortar a
Não.
partir dela? Não?
Não, pode tocar aí. Só que eu preciso sincronizar, né? Então, tipo, faz aquele segue o
Calma.
roteirinho. Não, já comecei aqui, já tá gravando. Depois a gente se vira para
Beleza.
sincronizar. Já tá gravando, tá? Tanto no YouTube como aqui. Só, tipo, segue o roteiro, para ficar mais fácil depois, beleza?
Okay.
So, hello, friends. We are extremely pleased to have here with us Mr. Claude. He's just the world CEO from Fauna Marin. So we want to have a nice talk and try to show his opinions on most of the products we are loving pretty much from Fauna Marin and show it to you. So I would like to introduce Mr. Claude and give him time for a brief introduction about the history of Fauna Marin.
So, hi, friends, to Brazil. And I speak from Germany, so you know the best soccer players in the world.
No. Okay. Okay. You can accept now.
No, so it was a joke. I come from Switzerland originally, so I'm completely neutral on that. So from that, it's not a problem. And I'm really not a big soccer fan. So at the end, I have be more a fan of the courts and that things. Fauna Marin is now this year becoming 20 years old. So we have meanwhile about 45 workers which work for us in our company. And we export our products in around 35 different countries in the world and also in Europe. The main markets what we have is Europe and Asia. And North and South America is starting now very successful. So we're very happy about that. How is the work there? Very professional. And it's instead of German and European, the Brazil reefers are a little bit more emotional, which I really like. So there you can have talks and discussions. So in Europe it goes a little bit down because we have a lot of different brands, a lot of people there over many years. So everybody know it better, even if they have never a tank before. So I'm also very happy that I have the possibility to talk to you all here. My work, I started in '84, so very early. I was working in a local fish store, which was the first wholesale in Germany about marine animals. And we have soft corals and green and brown paletoas. That was our range of corals and fish. And at the end, I clean square miles of glass every day in years. So, and I learned over the time to handle how to work with the corals. And what is so fascinating for me is that till today, we have new species, we have new colors, and every day something new, which we don't know yet, which is now more than 35 years ago. still I do this job. Like my distributor Carlos said, unfortunately I have more to do with paperworks and lab works and these things, and a little bit less with the cores, but for that I have my people here, and we still run a big core farm where we breed the cores, where we sell them also to the market, and where we do our product testing, so that we know what if we have ideas. Sometimes the most ideas don't work. Sometimes we have luck and it works good, and then we can produce a product for that, like we did it with the food or with other systems. So that's my work. That's all. It's nothing special at the end.
Abílio, can we keep going in English? Podemos continuar em inglês para fluir melhor?
Yeah.
Você acha que faço as interrupções? Não precisa, não, né? So, could we move on to the first piece of work here that we would like to hear from you about your salt?
Yeah.
What the hell is there in this salt? I know this is kind of a silly question, but since we've been using this salt, we are pretty amazed with polyp extension, with LPS extension. Corals seem to want so much something that you put on this secret sauce. I know you won't tell us.
Yeah, no, there is absolutely no secret. There's the only thing is there is nothing in.
There is nothing.
The point is not what you add in. The point is what you do that nothing is in. That's it. So,
you mean no contaminants?
It has nothing to do with the contaminants. Sure, at one reason, yes, but this is mostly too wide talked. There's a very simple things about salt. We have two possibilities. We can take the salt out of the sea, using it when they have the freshwater plants. So they coming a lot of salt water out, or the usual way. The point is, this kind of salts contains a lot of organic, which is at the first step good, which is on a long time run for me a little bit difficult. So we decide, like other brands also, that we buy a very, very clean salt, which comes very deep. It's over 250 million years old. It's from our area here where we have a tropical sea. 250 million years ago, we have a high CO2 rate and a very nice landscape here. For this today is fucking cold. and how older the salt is, how better is on how cleaner the salts are in these mines. How younger it is, how more it is mixed. So then we take this salt out, we mill it to a special sign. We add some anti-caking. This is necessary by law due to the transportation and due to the fabrication. So we have to do that. We can use a chemical one, which we don't know exactly how it's work and what has the effect on the cores. And we use the older one because this we can control and we know exactly how it's work. So for this, we have 20, 30 years experience and we can detect it by the ICP. Then we produce some kind of trace element solutions, different styles, which we add on each grain. So the mixing process and the milling process, and then how we get the traces around each salt corn, that's the difference. Then we don't add any sugars, vitamins, carbon sources, biopolymers, whatever you can talk, whatever you want. This is what we add exactly out. So no organ, nothing. Because my opinion is, when I go to the supermarket and I buy something where it calls butter, I want to have butter. I don't want to have butter with olive oil or butter with water shit. So I want butter. So that's when I go to Brazil and I want the caipirinha, I want the caipirinha. So I don't want liquor of caipirinha or that shit what they sell here. A caipirinha is clear, absolutely. So exactly. So and here, you know, they sell caipirinha. I drink it. My bad luck is that I was in Brazil. I get caipirinha, so that what they sell here is not caipirinha. I don't know what it is. It looks like sometimes, but it's not caipirinha. And that's why I make the salt. And the salt means it has to be salt after mixing as close as possible to a good seawater, as we can technically do. More we don't do. That's it. That's all.
So that we just have one type of salt, right?
Yeah, that's the reason. So I don't know. I have one type of caipirinha since 20 years. I don't know. They change it. You know, they put things in caipirinha like they put things in beer, but it's never better. The original one is the best one. So, and that's why only one type of salt, because I have one type of seawater, and your fishes in the Caribbean Sea, they're swimming in the same water like the corals in Africa or the corals on the Pacific. So it's one water. I don't know where they always find different waters. I know one water at the end. So the food is different, okay, but the water chemistry, the relation of the different elements is all over the world absolutely the same. Only the nutrients, only the organic compounds are sometimes a little bit different, or particles, something like that. But the water is all over the world the same. That's why I concentrate on one salt and not on 5, which I never understood. I need 5. So
we are really loving that.
Yeah, so that Paulo, our corals receive this water and say, "Oh man, we are in the natural tank. You know, we are in
the
sea."
Ocean. Yeah,
like that. You know?
But you see, when you buy natural seawater, when you have the possibility to get natural seawater and you put it in a tank, you have another great effect on it. And there you see that what we can do technically is we are quite better than 20 years ago, yes, but we are miles away from the nature. If the water is okay, it's in a Recife harbor, there's a little bit difficult to get a good water. But if you go outside and you see the reefs, even the Atlantic reefs, how nice they are and how good the water is, you see that we have a lot of work to do, since we can try to copy the nature, but we are not away. We are not no way. So we can't. We try it so good as possible, but more is not possible at the moment.
This is the God's secret, you know. We cannot do exactly the same water that we have in the ocean. So it's a God's secret. So we are just we are willing to get it, but you know the salt that Fauna Marin has, it's for me it's incredible. So you know, I cannot say anything else about it because maybe it can be suspicious, but you know, and what I did a Fauna Marin t-shirt. I'm going to send to all the guys, you know.
I have also one, but I was more into dimension. This is a small.
No, I know. I just need to show to the guys, you know, and it's going to be a gift to them, you know. Yeah. But anyway, so it's we are Fauna Marin lovers, as I said, you know, before to you. So let's go, Paulo.
Okay,
go ahead.
So moving to the next topic, we would like to know your opinions on. But we have read a lot of Fauna Marin's manuals, and from what we are understanding, you are very fond of pretty low nutrients with pretty enriched nutrition, but taking care of a very rich bacterial population, and adding pretty frequently minor and trace elements. Are we in a good track of that, is that really the philosophy, or anything we are
missing?
Okay, let us go maybe a few steps back and to think about what's going on about reef keeping and the experience all over. Now it does not absolutely no matter about the brand. At the end, we find out that skimming, regulation of the nutrients, and slightly feeding is the key, which the most people are successful with. So, I think this is all over the world. I know the people trying without skimmers, some trying out with a DSP percent bed or whatever. But if you look over the years, you find out that the most success over the longer time we have with this typical method, live rocks, ceramics maybe, a good lighting, good water movement, and that's it first. If you have a little bit higher nutrients or not, it really doesn't matter. There are two big mistakes today in the meaning with this myth about reef keeping. So the first is bacteria. We have, if you look a tank, let me take yours in the background. If you look now which surface you have, and you will take all the decoration and the surfaces what you have and make it flat for bacteria, you have the size of a tennis plate or a soccer field as a surface with a few grams of animals from all over the world. You mix them together. At the end, this is not a really good idea. So too much surface, less animals, and then all the animals from all over the world, from all different type of reefs, and no freshwater guy coming to the idea to add the fishes from Amazonas together with East African ones. So they're not wondering that everything goes dead. In reef keeping, we put them all together. It will work. So, and it will not work the same as you cannot put all over the world all people together. It creates always issues. The bacteria, what we need are not the bacteria which taking the typical things from ammonia, go up to nitrate and back. This is completely stupid. We don't need that amount of surface. We don't need that amount of bacteria. They're creating us only problems. So less surface, more animals. That's why the farm working much better, because they have thousands of corals inside and less surface. So we work with the bacteria on the corals. These are this one which I want. I don't want a lot of nitrosomas, nitrobacter and all that shit, because they change it completely. It depends which type of bacteria and which type of work you have, depending on the nutrient level what you have in the tank. If you have a lot of bacteria in, it's a very simple thing. The bacteria is starting, and let me say you grow them, you give them carbon source, whatever. So they start. In the nature, we have a cycle. And the cycle, depending on different type of bacteria, some bacteria can shortcut the cycle, some not. So which type of bacteria we have in the tank, we don't know. The classical version, let me say, also nitrobacter, nitrosomas, whatever these things, these are always going from ammonia to nitrate back. So if you add now carbon source, so short carbon source, you block the nitrobacter and you push nitrosomas which go back. That means they produce CO2. The water becomes more acidized. And blocking at the same time the nitrobacter, because nitrobacter need CO2 as carbon source and not the short one which we give in. That means the pH go down. If the pH go down, we open the depots, we get the nutrients in the water, and we have then the over-fertilization of the tank, which is the same if you over-fertilize your plants. At the beginning, whoop, goes up. 6 months later, it is dead. And you have no possibilities to come out of this, only you change the soil. And it's the same in the reef tank. The over-fertilization is the biggest problem what we have. And that's the reason why the bulling light system, and when we come back, or the salt, is made that the tank's running in a limitation. Because the limitation is controllable. We can add something, this is easy. But that's the same with us, you know, when we get older, we love nutrients, and that you can see sometimes. So, yeah. So to bring it in was very easy. To get it out, it's a little bit hard work. And that all over the world the same. You can take the corals like plants. If you follow plant rules, you have the same like orchids, you have the same with your corals. That's really nothing different in the sense of the keeping, not in the detail, surely not. But the power of the surface you have in your tank and the power of growing of corals, so they're starting to build biofilm, and these biofilms are full of sugars. And to build that, they're taking nutrients in, they're taking iron, vanadium, phosphorus, everything they put in. Now you reduce the nutrients. This type of bacteria are not okay with a lower nitrogen level, so they change. So that means all the stuff coming back. This is the depot effect which we have, and this is the effect what we have, which calls old tank syndrome, or like the American says today, a lazy ass syndrome, lazy ass river syndrome. Which means that one thing which we don't do and which the nature do, the nature make every 5 seconds a complete water change. Each half a year, the sand will be laying around due to the power, to the movement. They kill some corals, some new are growing. So there's always a change. And we in our reef tank, we put the shit around, that's all. So, and all what's going in must go out. And this is which is not so that easy as we thought, because the skimmer takes only a part, the growth of the corals takes only a part. So the way is to come to a limitation. That's the way. The other is over-fertilization.
So that the water change is necessary on that cycle.
The export is necessary. You don't need a water change. If you have a limitation, you don't need a water change, because you cannot do with a water change. You cannot change a limitation. You change only 10%. But I don't do water change, never, even not in the Balling light system. We do a water change to get something out, to get something in, sorry. We do water change to have an export, and we write in the manuals the water change that the people looking minimum 1 time a week to their tank. That means water change means I don't take only the water out. I take care of the skimmers, I take care of the pumps, I suck out all the detritus stuff, the precipitations which we have, the rest of the food. We change a little bit of the sand, maybe only 5%, and taking new one in. And that means the tank is then stable for many years. Today, we have systems which explain you don't need water change. Yes, you don't need water change for calcium, or you don't need water change for strontium. This you can add in, but this is not the problem. It was never made 10% water change a week to bring something in. It was always made to bring something out. And this marketing trick gives the people a lot of issues, because they thought this is plug and play. So, and we have the most difficult animals to keep. We have the most sensitive animals which are possible to keep. And there is necessary a little bit of work and a little bit of cleaning of this thing. If you go to reef and there is a little bit higher waves and higher storms, and you go 2 days later, then the reef is clean. So they clean by themselves. With all 5 seconds, they have fresh water. And I don't know. I would love to sell so many salt that you do every 10 seconds a complete water change. I would give you the salt, no problem for me. So I will find some containers, but you know, it's possible. And for me, it's really the same if you're living in a 5-star hotel in the mountains where you have fresh air and always to eat, or you sit in a slum in Manila. That's clear why they die earlier, and that's the same with the corals. And that's our problem at the end. That's our problem. That's all what we have.
So you said
as you got
problem,
into,
right? So the second one that you said, the first one was bacteria, and the other one.
This type of the bacteria and the type of water change or cleaning. So these are these 2 things. So at the end, we have to keep it, the course, like plants. So we have to look that they have the sun, they have all that what they need, and the right nutrients. And people looking more for bacteria, and don't looking so nice on the base of the on the chemical stability and on the base of the core, so on the organic compounds and that thing. So that, because they let it run, put it in, and think about that. If it's written in the on the bottle, add 5 milliliters by 100 liters, then they said, yeah, that's for every tank the same. So, but we mix all the different animals inside, and I can only write on the bottle, like people say today, a human in our age need 2,500 calories a day. Maybe we have one which is close and which is okay, but on the most people, it's an average. And this is the mistake what is made today. And really after the understanding that we have to deal with the nutrients, that we have to clean the water, that we have to do an export, after that, it's a question about skimmers, pumps, lights, if it's correctly or not, or which type of animals we keep together. Today, we talk only about the light, over the light, or we thought this skimmer is the best one and this skimmer is the best one. And I always say, if you have no idea about driving a car, it doesn't matter which car you drive.
Yeah.
You need
Amazing.
This is the point. And they looking for the
Marinho.
ICP same.
Yeah.
They talk with me about nickel and vanadium, and then you look on calcium, and calcium is on 300. And say, what do you want to talk to me about nickel? So your tank is shit, and the cords are dying, and you're talking about nickel. So
I would like to ask a brief question. Since you got into the baling thing, we have all been doing the baling light system.
Yeah,
it's keeping things incredibly stable. So we're talking about this now for those watchers. There is we are pretty used to previous baling systems, and we have been receiving, maybe you have even already answered that, because we have been loving to do our frequent water changes as a source of cleaning purpose.
Yeah.
Cleaning the sandbed, cleaning the sun. So many people have been asking us about there's that idea of part 3 with NaCl-free salts, where you would just add equal parts and add NaCl as a source of keeping addition extremely stable.
Yeah.
I believe I was kind of, we have been with that kind of thought for a pretty long time, and I was worried. But incredibly, with the baling light, with the frequent maintenance, we have done my ICP, and there was no ionic imbalance at all.
Usually so, not.
Yeah.
Very simple. It's a very simple thing, really. The history of the baling method is starting in 94. 94, there was an article about a good friend of mine. This is Mr. Heinz-Werner Baling. He's explaining the system in a Coral magazine at this day. So before, we know that system differently. So I work, we had some very big tanks. So I take calcium chloride, and we're taking soda and put it with 25 kiloby. We put it in the sump and ready. So nobody of us is using the mineral salt, and because there was not available at this moment. So we do water change and do that. And we did not have that big success. We like 10 years later, where we find out where we can detect the magnesium, potassium, and that things. So we do pure emotional. So then 94, it was explained in an article. And I find out very fast that the whole system is based on a theoretical view. That means I take the calcium, I take the sodium hydrogen carbonate, both those together, I have a rest, and then I put the mineral salt to create sea salt. And you cannot believe what's going on in these years. I was working in one of the biggest pet shops in Europe. We have 35,000 liter reef tank there, so we have many visitors. And every second question was, what they mean with the building sea salt? I don't understand. It's in water. So, and we explain it, and I was so tired to explain them again that I sit down and I thought, how can I make it more easy? That was the first idea. That's also why I use the name. I create the name Baling Light due to a respect, and the light means easier, not as difficult. I see the people trying to weight up a 70.8 grams. No kitchen can do that properly. No one can calculate it properly because no one knows how many liters I have in my reef tank. So I wanted creating a system where I don't need to weight it. I have and where I can use it for the different tanks depending what they need. So then I cut them away, and I thought, okay, what we do in the reef tank, what we add the whole day. Then I see that we have high sulfate levels all the time because we put sulfates in the tank too with the food. I see that we have barium enough because we put it with carbon, we put it with the filter materials in the tank. So then I check it, okay, what is that what we need? In fact, we need, and I take the mineral salt out, I put it in liquids that I can control. If I need more iodine, I add 1. I create 3 groups. The main group is the strontium group, the trace element, heavy metals, and the halogen group. That was at this time something which was for me the most sensible. I think it's still today the most sensible thing because if we go on 5, 6, 7 groups, it's too complicated for many people, even when they start. Then I had a problem with the weight. If you have magnesium chloride or calcium chloride, it takes a lot of water. So that means if you buy 1 kilo of calcium chloride, 2-3 weeks later, it's 1.1 kilogram. Due to the hygroscopic effect in the plastic bags. Okay, how we can deal with that shit. So then I create a Baling Light, and it's a very simple thing. The first is Baling Light is made for reef tanks. It's not made to create a natural seawater because we don't have natural seawater. It's a mistake. It's a theoretical idea, and the trace elements are made to find out as they test the bones of Acropora. Their trace elements, what they find in the bones, they give it to this. And this makes sense for me because when I test your bones and give you only that to eat what is in your bones, you will die. And at the same time, we add a lot of elements to food, artemia, frozen food. All the trace elements there are in milligrams, not in micrograms. So also I go back, I find out, okay, what we know is we have a kind relation between calcium and strontium. We have a kind relation to other things. This was a really good work from Mr. Baling to find a little bit also this relation. So there was nothing wrong, only the theoretical idea behind. And we were reef keepers. So we had the corals at this time. People who are writing all the articles, they try to keep corals, but till today, they are not able to keep them alive. They studied chemistry or something like that and viewed only on a theoretical way. And I don't care about 0.1 grams. I don't care about all that shit. So I said, okay, people buying usually 1 kilo or 2 kilos or 5 kilos, whatever. So I make a stock solution. The stock solution should be always same, means 2 kilogram and filling up the canister. If the salt stays 1 year or is wet, it does not matter. Then you fill a little bit less water. But the amount of calcium is always the same. Without that, you need to weight something because in the box, is 1 kilo. I want to use also the box because I hate when I have half filling boxes around the aquarium. So I want to put my stock solution and throw the rest away. The stock solutions are so heavy concentrated that they are stable for many, many years. This stability, and this is why the high amount of calcium and high amount of magnesium or carbonate is in the stock solution, I use because then my trace elements are really fixed. Later, I add an organic compound to keep the iron out. This is something, sometimes you can find it that you have precipitations in the canisters down, but this is over. This is iron, which is precipitation out. This comes from these organic compounds. They go together with iron. If it's in solution, the skimmer take it out, because you know that iron, when it's soluted, the skimmer cannot put it out. It can only be put it out when you can have when you have an organic compound around. So why we add a little bit of these biopolymers. That's a kind of a polymer which is very long. It's not usable as a carbon source, but it takes magnesium, it takes iron out of the system. So in some water, in some tap water, is sometimes iron a little bit more in, and that you see then in the canisters that you have a precipitations on it. This is the iron over. You can keep them away and cleaning, and you're ready. So the second step was the carbonate. The carbonate is a little bit an issue because we need a lot of them and it's not good to concentrate. You can work with pure carbonate. You have a higher possibility, but the problem is that you create precipitations when you add it in the tank. How stronger carbonates are concentrate, how stronger the precipitations are. Because in the moment you add it in the tank, you have a bowl of high carbonate, and they react immediately with calcium, with magnesium, and with other carbonates, and fall down. And you can see it in the reef tanks. That was laying down. It's not detritus. Detritus are parts of bacteria, and when you get in the sand, they flow away. Skimmers can take it out. But that what we have goes up and down. So, in the nature, in the Caribbean Sea, we have that very often. This is that's a kind of a calcareous sand. It's not an aragonite, which falling down. It's not creating by corals. It's creating by the seawater when it's very hot. When it's a little bit power on it, then these type of minerals fall down and creating very large sand areas. So, and this is the same, but in our reef tank, we are so dirty that what's falling out is brown and not white like in the sea. That was the reason why it does not flow away, because the bacteria shells, they flow away. This is detritus. That what we have is precipitations, and that is also the depot what we have. So I still work with a small mixture. This is 8% carbonate, and the rest is sodium hydrogen carbonate. We use a very, very clean version without iron, and that we have a lot of dosing. Because for me, it does not matter if you dose a little bit more water or not, because due to the vibration I need water. So I did not lost anything. People said sometimes, oh, we have to dose so much. It's not more than others. The difference is that this concentration is not as that high like I can do chemically, but I want to avoid these precipitations out. And that's the reason why we add it in. And due to the halogens is better, we dose more. So that you dose more often the halogens inside to avoid jumps in fluorine and iodine level. If you use these 25 milliliters in the canisters, this is the base. This is the absolute base, which means on a long time, you're not able with these 25 milliliters to keep a fully stocked aquarium alive. That means the boiling light system goes in the limitation. If that happens, we check strontium, we check a little bit zinc and vanadium, and we detect the iodine, and then we add a little bit more. That means we go from 25 to 30 in strontium. And there's really simple. The half strontium is the doubled amount of dosing. So when I have 4 strontium, I dose, and I want 8, I dose 50 milliliters instead of 25. That's it. So this is the base of the calculation. And there's another reason why Balling Light is different to all the other Balling systems. And that's the point of the bacterias, which we talked before. In theory, it's right that you have the same amount of this one solution to the other one. So we have the same amount of calcium and carbonate. Okay. This is okay when we talk about that the coral building the bone. Then it's right, absolutely. But our problem,
considering everything that happens in our aquarium is bone formation.
Yeah, no, look, when the coral building skeleton, she needs different type of elements, and she needs a different, and she needs a good amount and a right level of potassium, of fluorine, of iodine, that they can start the process. When you started a reef tank and the bacteria starting at the first time, they need a lot of carbonate, and it's not in relation to the calcium. Absolutely not.
Exactly. That's the point I'm getting. We're used to think that everything that we are adding is just transforming in bone formation.
Okay. So later then, the bacteria in the biofilm need more calcium. So when I have a system which is in relation, and I have a situation outside which is not, or the need is not in relation, then I have no possibilities to have a success on a long time run. I always say long time, because for me it's a reef tank, not half a year. For me, a reef tank, which means a long time stability, is after 1.5 or 2 years. Then the work starting. Till there, you have a lot of capacity due to the sand and the rocks and do some water change. So the most people is no problem 1 year, 1.5 years. That's not a problem. After, and let me say 6, 7, 8, 10 years, like 15 years, like we run our farm without any issues, without algae. That means to bring in the stability in the system in. And that's why Balling Light is not, it's not in a relation. So you can dose completely different, and that's what we also said. Don't dose only by carbonate, don't dose only by calcium, dose what you need and add what you need according to strontium, zinc, and iodine, and that's it. So that's the base. That's only the base, nothing more.
And it's been working pretty great with that for us.
It's one of the oldest system on the market. So the first was the explainer, as the kind of Balling is made in Germany by a guy calling Pavlovsky, and he's written it from a French guy, which described the system in 1850 or something like that. So it's a very old. Because even at this age, the people was not stupid. They know when they can put what is calcium chloride and that things. Then I think I described Balling Light in 96 or 97. I still don't know, never know it, because we don't have Facebook in this time. So we starting to talk with the people and bring them. And so the Balling Light system is over 25 years now in working, and is one of the oldest system on the market. In some countries, we are market leader in the things also. But maybe it would be a good idea if I have given them 25 years another name as Balling Light. But at the end, it's a kind of a Balling system, and I want to make it more easy for the people to use and to understand, and that's why the name is creating there. And it was absolutely not to starting a fight or to go against a two-part or against the Balling. So in this years we work more together. I don't know why the people think it's is always again, and all the things can be highly discussed. Surely, when I talk with Hans-Werner Balling, like I say, I like him very much and I respect him very well. We had over the years many discussions and fights about details all the time. And if you ask German reefers in the forums during the 2000s. We were not so friendly like today, so we're also getting older and more quiet. But we really our fights over weeks. And he's more the scientist. I'm more the practical guy. And so he said, "You and your emotions," and I said, "You and your calculation." And I must say, yes, also me was sometimes under the right level because I'm getting angry. He also, but like I said, we understand very well. We work very well together. And we still fight sometimes a little bit in small discussions, but it's okay. It's absolutely free. The people must find out what they like to use and how they like to work. And I think the Balling Light system by itself is from beginning on made for reefers and not for aquarium owners. No, that's a little bit, I think, the difference. We will bring a new system out as Fauna Marin as an all-in-one solution, where the people can get calcium, magnesium all in one thing. This is to try to bring the people to the reef keeping, but we describe exactly which type of animals and how to use it so that they can start. But the way is that we said, if you have used that for 1 year and you find out a little bit the fun in reef keeping, then go to the Balling Light and make it correctly. So, but I think today is necessary that we bring the people to the hobby with breeded animals, with farm covers like that, because we are really under pressure, depending on the governments. Even here in Europe, they want to stop this type of transport of animals. They hate it, the Green Party, and we have now the Green Party in Germany.
So there was another topic.
No, I will come then when they stop it here. I will come to Brazil, so I don't. Then I go.
We would love to receive you.
Yeah.
We could do some dives here.
Paulinho, it's something very interesting that he said. It's he's developing this new product. You know, I think is like the same for the other brand. That the reason for the question that you did is the regarding to the NCL free, right? So I think he's going to do these, like to develop these in order to just to new
maybe interesting to do new reefers.
Just getting
to the new reefers who think when we are new, we like to think everything should be extremely simple. When we get up, we start to perceive there's a small amount of complexity that is quite necessary.
The first one's like plug and play, as Claude said. Okay, just add it and see the results. But to be like increase, and then stop. And then if you want to develop even more, you have to change it to the Balling Light method. The Balling Light.
You are a group of reefers. You're sitting down. There comes an ugly German guy, and you sit there 2 hours to hear what he has to say. So you're completely crazy, all of you. So if you look today to people which are 20, 30 years old, I have a little bit my problems to understand them. All what they want is plug and play, and they have a span where they can concentrate between 10 to 20 seconds as that longer TikTok videos running. So, and then I don't know what they thought. So they want all the control with an app. And I think they need to be married, and they know that the app is not working, even not if you have a wife. But this is really the the most different things there that they try to cook with an app. Meanwhile, they go in the forest to collecting mushrooms with an app, and they're wondering when they have toxic mushrooms in it, because they don't want to read, and they don't want to spend time to find out and to get the emotion and to get the feeling of all the things, and how you can explain the people feeling when they have the cell phone all the day in front of their face. So that's so we need to find methods or possibility to bring them a little bit out of this small part where they stand in, and that they have fun of it, because I'm sure that a lot of young people have fun of it when they understand a little bit and not running around to, oh, this is Nemo, oh, my daughter like it, but what is salt? Why we need salt and salt water? Okay, and this question we have every. It's crazy.
I believe we understood pretty well the message. And there was another topic, if we could move on to that. We would like to discuss a bit with you about coral food and coral nutrition, and about these products we have been using. I mean, Coral Sprint, Minus, we have also been using Coral Balance, that we have come to a perception, not really food, but a cleaning station, a cleaning purpose.
It's a little bit everything of all.
Coral Vitality, and some not really food, but trace nutrition, organic.
Exactly.
So in terms of coral food, we have been noticing some of these products are, I mean, pretty clean, or even clean the aquarium better. Some do have nutrients, like, for example, maybe Minus
and Coral Sprint, right?
Yeah.
So, tell us a bit about this product. How do you believe we should manage that?
Everybody's asking about the food, and I see you buy everything. So first of all, this is the right way. Now we talk about the food, how to use it. So if you buy it, it's okay. Now we talk about to use it. Okay, the foods are, I create food for different purposes at the end. So some is using together. The amine and the organic is a system where I call the Bali reef, where you said, okay, you have the baling light, you take amino acids and trace elements and give the fish food, and then ready. That's it. That's for all the normal things. Let me say red Montiporas, green slimers, milka coral, these things. You can run with it, and it's no issue. The Mines is, the one is the protein section. It's the Sprint. The Mines is the fat, protein, and fatty acid. And the amine is amino acid and vitamins. So at the end, all different foods containing that, but in different amounts. If you have now, if you go a tank in direction US style, you need a little bit more and other kind of proteins together with saturated, unsaturated fatty acids to creating the fluorescent and to creating that type of core. So that's why these people using more, let me say, Mines with Sprint together. If you have a soft tank, let me say a lot of Ophelia, zoanthus like that, you use the coral dust. And maybe if you want to keep, you can give a little bit more proteins to get a more clean coloration, then you use a little bit of Sprint. But it's completely different amount where you have to use then, depending on the amount of the weight of the course which is in. If you have a US style tank with small fracs, you have only, let me say, 20 grams of a material, of a living material. when I see the tank with the affiliates in the background, we're talking about hundreds of grams, of course. So that's why it's so different to see how much I feed. That's why I said starting is very, very, very low. It means 1 drop of Mines in 200 liters is for many tanks enough. If the tank is full of affiliates and full of clams and stuff, it's not enough. So you need a little bit more, but you can start and then you can see, oh, okay, maybe I give a little bit more. As long as your glass becoming not green and white, usually you are quite okay. If you see it's growing a little bit more in glass, other things you are too much, you go on the half and restart again. That's the point. How we creating the food. As long as a powder food, it's more for the beginners. And let me say, if you have corals we can catch. The acroporas, we feed the amino acids a little bit and the Mines by drops. And when I be ready, like I say, now it's okay, it's running, then I add the coral vitality. So this is always on top for playing around. This makes no sense to use that kind of products as soon as the base is not stable. And that's also what we try really to explain. The best thing to get colors in corals, colors on corals or healthy corals has nothing to do with the amount of food. It has nothing to do with the light or the skimmers. It has definitely to do how stable you can drive the conditions in your reef tank, starting from the temperature, ending on the carbonate hardness, and all between must be as stable as possible. If you feed low, they need a little bit longer to grow, but can create better colorations. If you feed along, you can let them grow stronger. But if you change all the time, it's difficult. And these reef tanks who are so amazing over years, like you see sometimes in our group, they keep it stable as possible with very low amount of food, but with very regular dosing so that they have a long way. And all the corals which get too much food at the beginning, getting brown, then they're starting to grow, then they use it, and then they create the colorations, amazing strong, but over the time. And not that I give now 100 milliliters of Mines inside and wonder why the color is not coming. And when I don't check the calcium and the carbonate or the fluorescence like bromine, fluorine, and the things are missing, then the corals cannot use the food. So I say always low food giving, and step by step, the tank's growing, raising up, but keep it stable.
So
and if I understood well, you meant the vitality as a, let's say, end of the line. Corals are already great, and this 2 colors.
Yeah, this is
the same idea of vitality. Let's say corals are great. I just want that extra polishing.
I will show you. You can find it also on the website under the section biotopes. There I make recipes. What is the sense behind? The sense behind this is always a little bit when I have 3 different groups of people. So we have the beginner, we have the normal users, the medium, and we have the profs. Okay? All the 3. Now I have the bulling light. The bulling light, you can create, let me say 75% of that what you need, and the stability you create with the primary care. That's it. So also one advantage is why I do it on that way, because I don't want that the base is changing. So I say to 75-80%, keep it stable and let it run. You will have a nice reef tank, not amazing, but a nice one. Now, let me say you have the usual users. Let's say 5 bottles, 10 bottles. I don't want. So I said, take the amine, take the organic, and you're done. The professional wants to play a bit more is the coloration. I said, don't use the all-in-one. Use the color elements where you can play a little bit better. But you play always on the 80%. Yeah. That means this is spelling light, and then you add on top the color element. So the difference is that the trace elements and the macro elements, which are in Balling light, are also macro, means strontium and this type and potassium in a total different way. The trace elements on top, there I need a little bit more iodine, I add a little bit more heavy metals, I see how is the coloration, but I never change the base. So my playing ground is 20%. If you have an all-in-one system, which let me say all other brands do at the end, you change always the whole system. So if you want more iodine, you have to dose more of this one, but then you dose all the other ways also, and never in a relation. So and I want only play on the top. And the completely crazy guys, which like to have a different color on a polyp. Yeah, so I don't know why people do that, but sometimes they will have fun. They play then here on top. They play around with a little bit more protein. They play around with coral vitality. This is for the crazy guys at the end. So to playing around. And
we know some crazy guys like that here with some.
Yeah, you
just.
I was never so stupid to dose everything in the reef tank. Yeah, sure, I do the whole day. This is playing around. This is the hobby. This is what makes fun to find out. And when it's the polyp is red, I'm so happy. Like my wife gets a new child, so she will never understand it. So 100% what's wrong with me. But this is the point.
Daily challenging. A daily challenge. You're going to practice and learning daily.
Yeah.
I'm like that.
No, but the whole is.
So I think we learned a lot about. You even said about some products we do not have here yet, or maybe they are about to arrive. Isn't that good? Like LPS Grow and Coral Dust.
This is our fight. This is our fight.
Yeah,
we are getting there. We want them.
Yeah, we have Carlos do really an amazing job. So I'm very, very thankful for his patience with all that what's coming around. I think he knows the bureaucracy of all the things, because coral food is for every country in the world a question of national security. You must really know that. So when we sell the coral food, you can build bombs of it or whatever you can do if you throw it to your neighbor. It's a very dangerous thing, so that's why we have to do a lot of work. It's really no joke. It's sometimes we need 2 years to get the papers for a little bit coral food. We are speechless meanwhile about that. So
okay.
And to understand it a little bit, I will only tell a little bit, a small joke of it. So there's a standardized veterinary sheet which is accepted by all over the world usually. So that means not that the customs officer, whatever his problem is, maybe he has a too small polyp, let me say on that, and he tried to keep the he say, no, I want a special sentence on the paper. So, which is not very special. It's a very simple thing. So the logic say, without be all okay, the health certificate will not be made. But he want a special sentence on it. Now you go to the European Union. The girl there said, I'm not allowed to write that. I know it's true, but I'm not allowed to write that. It's not in the bibliothèque of the European Union.
We do not want that sentence here.
So, yeah. And we talk about the sentence like, let me say, maybe one sentence would be, the food is thermally treated. So there's no other possibility to produce it without thermal treated. Without that, you cannot get a health certificate. So the rules are worldwide the same. Even China is accepted, and they accept normally nothing. And now you have such a customer guy So from the customs, the officer. So like the officer in the US, which want a health certificate for water. So I go to my office and could you write me a veterinary thing for seawater? He said, what? I said, yes. He said, no. I said, write something, put your stamp on it, and then we have 600 milliliters of seawater in the US, so please help me. So he said, I cannot do that. It's like, why? Write a letter, make a stamp on it, say, this is seawater, this is okay. He said to me, yeah, but I did not check it. It's like, we are 20 years now. We work for 20 years. So you undersign every fucking week, you undersign everything. And now I want only for seawater. He said, this is stupid. I said, I know that is stupid, but what I can do, I need your help. So, but you know, like in Brazil, also in Germany, the authorities are there to earning money, not to help the people. So,
we know that. We know that pretty well.
This is our misunderstanding. And the Germans are very good in earning money, even the authority, you know. So they have to spend for COVID. Now we have to spend for them. So that's the rule. Right. And now you must say, we go now to a separate laboratory, which write us down that the food is thermally treated. This laboratory must go back to the veterinary office, because then when it's written by the lab, then it's okay. Then we can write this sentence on the paper. It's totally stupid. It makes completely no sense, because I have no idea how you want to make granule food without thermally treating. You cannot produce food in this way in the US, even not in Russia, even not in Africa. So but the Brazil, he wants now the sentence. So okay, we make it. It needs some time, because they need time for the sentence. They must check it. They need 2-3 weeks to read the sentence of the lab, and then maybe they write it, and then you pay for a copy. We will see. It's funny.
Someday it arrives. Yeah.
I'm really in good hope that this century it will rise. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So there are more things. There are lots of things we want to hear your thoughts on. Next topic we would like to hear some of your thoughts are bacteria. You already said a lot of your ideas on bacteria. We perceive you value bacteria a lot on our tanks, and we have been managing that with some products that we would like to have some of your idea when and what purpose is better to use them. So we've been keeping bacter balls in our systems.
Yeah.
About bacter balls, some people have even questioned, can we just add more? Do we need to remove the previous balls? And do they have just bacteria, or do they have a small amount of carbon source?
Okay, then we have 4 different types of bacteria. We can start with the bacter balls. The bacter balls is made for the lazy people. These are the same bacteria which we have in bacter plant. It's a little bit a lower amount as exactly, but there's a completely different. I know that many people claiming that the bacter balls are the same like the pond for kois. So you can try that out. If you put a ball which is for kois, it shrinks together in a reef tank within of a few 1-2 days, and the bacter plants don't do it. So there you can also have a proof that it's not the same. The problem what we have is that we have seawater. So we have to fill the balls also with seawater and not with fresh water. That's one of the points. And the normal balls you can only fill with fresh water because the salt is destroying the material. So we use a completely different material as the typical koi ponds. It is possible that the balls will not dilute completely. This is depending on the organic amount which is in the water. If there's not a lot organic there, then they keep stable, or if not enough flow. But the bacteria is going step by step out. That's why I need a little bit less bacteria, because they need time, and the bacteria has time to to come okay with the salinity in the reef tank. Because if you check bacteria solutions, you will find out none of them has 35 salinity. They're much lower. We reproduce it with 1%. This is the highest what we can do. The reason for that is very simple. The companies who are producing the bacteria, which are really professional, they have really high, really big and very expensive reactors for breeding this type of bacteria, and the metal of these reactors cannot put more than 1%. And we are not as that big market that they accept that we kill them the reactors for a few hundred thousands. So this is the most what we can do, but we adding the salt then later, and we're getting to 1%. So we have a little bit the right type of bacteria for the reef tank. So that's one of the difference. And we have a very high amount of bacteria inside. So we have mostly over 1 billion bacteria by milliliter. If you look for some American products, you can find out that they need 30 milliliters for dosing. We need only 3 to 4 and have the same amount of, and have even more bacteria, more than 100 times in. But I have a question for you now. Have you an idea why we have to redose the bacteria? Because all bacteria, what you buy here, they are living bacteria. So, but all, like we do also, we write those all 14 days. So why you think this? You have an idea?
Maybe I don't think if I would be right on that, but we are really very interested in reading in groups and all that. When we have seen that over time, there is somehow a tendency of the reef to keep in poor diversity, like usually one type of bacteria usually overcomes the others. We kind of, that's not the main idea.
No.
So tell us the main idea.
The problem is that we have to deal with many different type of bacteria, and where we have still today at the end no big idea what's going on. So we have to focus only on this nitrogen source, the nitrogen circle, but we have a lot of other circles around, and we have many different type of bacteria which can also make shortcuts in the nitrogen cycle. So at the end, every tank is singly for him. Then we have all the bacteria which are in the cores, and this biodiversity we cannot control due to a few bacteria which we produce. So the products of bacteria is a good tool. It's an important tool. It can help to solve issues and to get time to find the reason for the issue that we can change the source. For this, the products are very good. I don't say to dose all the time the bacteria in. It makes no sense. You put the bacteria in, they do some work, the skimmer takes them out, and then you have to dose it again. But if you have some issues, like you make a movement, you have some rotten animals because there's a fish dying and it's inside and you need to control it, then you can use the therapy. If you have too much precipitations in the bottom, you can also use the therapy because there are bacteria in which eating the mud. All the things you can do with the bacteria. So they are a really good tool, but a good running tank don't need a bacteria dose. And I don't say it's a good idea to dose that all the time. For me, the bacteria dose is like a little bit an aspirin. But the way is, it's always good to have it at home. But like you use it as a human is, first you drink, then you use the aspirin. The other way is not working. And that's the same with the bacteria. So keep it there. You can use it with the bacter balls for starting, for cycling. That's all okay. If you have no live rock, today we have to work with ceramics, with what else we can buy. There is a good sense to fill the surface with bacteria and to bring it more in stability. That's a good idea. But it's not a tool to save money, not to buy corals then. So the way is, to add many cores in the tank as fast as possible, with low decoration as possible. Then you have the most possible success. But for movement, for ill animals, if you have fishes lost or something like that, you can add for 2 days, 14 days, you can add bacteria. For cycling or something like that, the bacteria are a good way to keep the stability. For that, this is a tool, not less, but not more. So it's much more important to keep a stable biofilm in the reef tank by the normal work which is inside the tank due with normal food. You will have enough bacteria. Also, the myth, if the people say we dose Dino X, we kill the biology. We dose this, we kill the biology. No, there is. You need to dose antibiotics in very high amount to kill the biology. You change the nutrition levels. This have an effect on the bacteria, but then coming others stronger than it was before. Yes, this is one of the problems. But cyanobacteria, dinoflagellates, gold algae, whatever fuck has nothing to do with a damaged biology. Absolutely not. It has to do with less elements and with dysrelation and whatever, but not with a missing bacteria. I know today the people buy it like hell, they keep it in, and so sometimes people claiming this product is not working. It cannot work, No, when you have an open wound, you can take aspirin. It will not close the wound. And this is the point why we have so much myth in this case. So there's no diagnosis. So okay, what's the problem? How are your parameter? And now which kind of bacteria could help? We have the rebiotic, which is another type of bacteria. This is the dry source bacteria. Yeah, this is something which is only used for problem solving. Let me say large tanks, which you cannot remove the rocks, or if you have such problems, this is a bomb. This is extremely strong, and you can really, about this amount of bacteria, you can give you some time to create a better environmental for the cores to help them out. But this is also, I know people who use it daily, and they say they have great success with that. Okay, then they found a good way for what come in the tank and with the bacteria. But I do not recommend it all the time. I recommend to come back to normal and have these tools as possibility to find back to the right way before adding medicine, before adding the X series or something like that. So it's first I help with water change, a little bit bacteria, and mostly then I can come back on to the way. And so it's step by step. So how bigger the problem, then the next product coming. So if the bacteria don't work and the water change don't work, then I can go to X, then I make ICP, then I check what is the level, and then I can come back to the way. So
as you've said about rebiotic as a kind of, let's say, restart or regaining that good balance. Is that the same way we might think about refactor therapy?
No. I had a customer from Switzerland. She had older tank, and she had a very special cyanobacteria which grows more like a sponge. Very thick pattern, extremely hard to remove, even if you put the tank in a good level. So I developed for her these type of bacteria, because I said to her, we can do that, but we have to fix all the nitrogen and the phosphorus with something which is stronger than the cyanobacteria. So, and with that we can bring the cyanobacteria back to grow and will be then destroyed. So that was the reason why I developed sometimes a product. So before it was not necessary to have such a bomb. And this lady was the reason that I said, okay, we will find a way to solve this issue. That's why we have today this type of dry bacteria. They are really, like I said, I have a big issue, and then I can go in with that without harming the corals or without have too much effect on the nutrient level in the reef tank. But they go in the sponges, they go in the cyanobacteria, and they keep all the nutrients from them away, so they die. So this is the sense behind the things. The bacterotherapy is more against the smell of the water. These are typical bacteria which going against the smell of the water. There was an idea, was also a lady which blaming that the tanks of her husband is smelling and has ill fish and that. And so I have a look and I talk with some of these producers of bacteria, what we can do, what they have for ideas. And these are really specialists in how bacteria is working and which one. And so we find together a recipe for the seawater. And this is quite good against pathogens. It's cleaning the tank a little bit. And it's okay if you dose both together. This is possible. But my personal meaning for me is it's always better not to dose when it's go for a long time. And if you have a private reef tank which smells like that, you can dose it. That's not a problem. But you know, I see here from a real reef behind how he take care with his corals, how nice they will be stocked there. I have euphyllias to see, and you also in the backside. And for you guys, it's nothing what you dose the whole day. Yeah. For a customer maybe which has a normal heavy stocked fish. That's one of the typical things, too much stock of fish. Then you can help to reduce the nutrients with the bacteria. In this case, yes, before you add carbon source, before you add a large skimmer or whatever, or if it's not possible because they don't have the money, then you can do it, yes. But for reef tanks lovers who are working like base like that, what I can see now in the background, no, because these tanks are healthy, so don't add bacteria, which brings more. Right, okay.
So it's even interesting for us to have this let's say, it's a very interesting opinion because we do not have from you just dose everything.
No.
There's like, please, there are many things that you should not dose too often.
Sure. This is something really which I have really sometimes issues to understand. If we look us as humans, okay, you know exactly that some of us can eat more carbohydrates. They don't come good with proteins. Other one needs proteins. The next one work very hard. He needs 6,000 calories. The other one, blonde and maybe stupid, is 1,000 calories is enough. Okay, so we cannot say this is for human good. We no way. So and the end, when we buy a good food, a really good food, we don't eat too much and we don't eat all what is on the market, then we stay healthy. The point is to feed the fishes very well is one of the keys for success for the corals, because that's what the fishes bring it out, the ammonium and the nitrogen and a little bit of phosphorus, is that what the corals like to have as nutrient source. So then maybe when we have a lot of corals, some special corals, then we add a little bit of the food. The continuously dosing less, but dosing all the time and keep it stable. This is the success. And at the end, you must see one thing. How many people changing the system? And how many people in the reefing are very disappointed? Because if there is a problem, it's always the last product. They say, this I dosed, now I have a problem. In fact, it's mostly not the half product. For me, it's more important not that the people dosing everything, because when they dose everything, the tank crashes. Then says all the time is, the product don't work. Dosing less, amazing. Dosing for a long time, and then you have success. And a tank which have success, if you have a nice show tank in your store, the people automatically will trust you and they will automatically buy that what is using in it. You don't need to talk about price. You don't need to talk about other things. They want have the trust. And this is today the most difficult things for all the reefers around the world, because they have 200 products. They have no idea what is good or not. And that's the same like when I go and I want to buy a computer, they explaining me things like this is the card of boop, 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 and this has the number whatever, and I ask him, okay, where I can make it on and off. I have no idea if the computer is running good or not. So, and I don't care. I won't use it. I have no idea why we can talk together here. I don't know why this is working, and I don't care about it. I need only to know where I have to press, and that's what the most people want. And for me, it makes no sense to tell them those are what we have, because then the tank crashes, and at the end, they take in 10 people within and say, "Oh no, this is a shit company." No. Going the way, going the recipes, make it for longer time, so then we can talk also in 10 years about how we can get a success. And it's starting with the salt, make it very clean and not 5 different ones to make it $10 cheaper and removing the most important elements on it. So the $10, this is not the cost instead of a crashing reef tank at the end. Yeah.
Okay, so could we move to a completely different topic here? Not actually completely different, but about your opinions on nutrient control. We have been using very often these 2 products. We're loving this. Pulse 004.
Yeah.
This is black magic. This is black magic. No. But we have been using this with some of us have been. There's even this question if this is a good method to use. I have put a bed of zeal, and on top of that a bed of 004. So tell 2 questions. What is the black magic that these that are phosphates never get to 0? That was like a tremendous problem to me always.
When I tell you now, under 4 ice, I tell you now that I buy cachaca, Brazil one, and soak the adsorber a little bit in, and then I give it back to the reef tank. This is no joke. There's a kind of mixture like we use there to avoid this. This is really a trade secret now a little bit how I do it. The reason to do that was that we do service in hotels, in a restaurant, and always when I have time, the restaurant was full of people. And I was tired to come every week there and change the adsorbers, and so I sit down with a friend together and say what we can do, that we have one which we can put 20 kilos in and it runs all the time but not get on 0. So then we find it out over a little bit of work, and that's it. And it's not a black magic, it's nothing, it's only physics and chemistry a little bit. And then it's working.
Is that a good, let's say, a good pair of products to use together?
No, even not. No, at the end, you need a good skimmer, you need a good food, you need to do the water change, and then maybe it's a good tool to work with that. What I would work is always zeolite. So with zeolites, this is a really good source for a small filtration when you can clean that and put it out. This is really something where you can get a lower nutrients, but not, and it's the wrong thinking. It has nothing to do with phosphorus or nitrogen. It has to do that the zeolite removes the trace element system. No, look, this is all the shit that people tell around. So zeolites, the bacteria
we went to learn that.
Yeah, the bacteria loves the rock. They love the surface of zeolite. Yeah. So yes, at the beginning, yes, there is some ammonia which is binded on the surface of the rocks and goes in. Right. This makes for bacteria very simple to grow on the surface. But look, when we had a piece of rock, zeolite like this. So, and now we have very, very small holes. And at the end, a bacteria is sitting on top. The holes in zeolite are much too small. The bacteria goes in. And now, like a little bit free beer, the ammonium comes around. So I hope you can see it. Maybe it's wrong. I don't know. That's like this. So, Did you really think the bacteria go no away and say, hey, ammonia, I don't need you, go in the rock? No, the bacteria take all what she can get. So after, let me say, the first day, maybe there is some ammonia going in the zeolite, and you can see it if you use the zeolite without preparing them and using a lot. You have very problems with your corals because you take all the nitrogen out. But latest in one day or day one or day two, you have a good surface for bacteria, and the zeolite taking the iron out and taking the unwanted trace elements out of the water. It's for cleaning against too much trace elements. It takes the fertilizer.
Oh, great.
This is the sense behind. And then we dose the elements which we need and which we want. And that's why we can control the coloration better. So developed the system from a Chinese guy, also very early in the 80s, no, not 80s, and also in the 90s, we had a reef tank here from a Chinese guy, which was amazing. It was from another planet during this time, and this was a Chinese guy who using this type of zeolites to clean the water. We were very interested in that. I go in another store, I buy zeolites, put it in, all the corals died, and I said, "This is the shit on earth, and we'll never use it. This is fake." So, and 10 years later, then I understand what was my mistake, because there are different zeolites in the market. And what we need today is a Ca-based cleanup zeolite. This is the mineral, which is an aluminum silicate. So the only problem if you use zeolite is that on the ICP, you will always have a high amount of a barium, sometimes of barium, of aluminum, and maybe silicate. But this is particleized. So it does not matter about that you have a problem in your reef tank, but it's important for these guys who take care with the ICP that they know about ICP, how to interpret it. So that's why they need to talk with the customer. So usually, and we can start it soon in Brazil also, that we do a training with the shop owners, and they get a certification that they are able to do an interpretation on ICP, where I show them the tricks to find out what causes which level on elements in the ICP to help the people better. Also there, adsorbers and the adsorbers around. Zeolite is a type of filtering. It had nothing to do with an adsorber. Adsorbers are always have the advantage that you can keep the phosphate out if you like, but they have always a disadvantage that they bring the skimmer down if they are iron-based, or they're taking the fluorine out if they're aluminum-based. And this will have an effect over the longer time on the reef tank. So the base for the customers or people who use it is always the same. The export due to water change, due to good skimming, due to coral grow. An adsorber, if a fish is dying or was too much fish in, but then going back to the base. I don't use adsorbers very often. I use zeolites. Sometimes I use an adsorber when we do really heavy feeding in the farm, but mostly we have to add nutrients like plants where we have to give them fertilizers. And if you go on the way of thinking of plants and you do it in the way, on the sense, same on the reef tank, then you will have success. Because a farmer, and you can talk with every farmer in the world, he never add more fertilizer as he thinks. He goes to 80%. He fertilized only to 80%. This gives the plant a sign, oh, if I grow, I will have more surface, I can have more nutrients. Then he waits till she grows, and then he gives another 10%. He never over fertilizes it. If he do, he know the plants are dying or have issues. And that's the same on the reef tank. That to over fertilize and then go in an adsorber is a way which the people do today. Yes, but this is only the look on the surface, and it's not the look on why I have a high phosphate. Very often, if the people make an ICP, they see there's no zinc, there's no vanadium, there's no nickel in the reef tank, which the tank needs to reduce the phosphate by self, which the bacteria need to grow. So it makes more sense always. You make an ICP to check it, do the interpretation, and take care of the bulling light, of the elements, of that things, before going the first step and say, oh, I take aspirin, I have headache. Sometimes it's better to ask why I drink so much. Yeah, that's the same. So,
I understand.
and you have customers who don't want to take care. So for them, and it's always okay. They are lazy. They have not the time. They don't want. For that, it's absolutely okay. But for reefers who wants to know what's going on, no. If possible, not.
Perfect.
No.
And last but not least, can we get to some, let's say, polemic region about the X line? About the X line, but the X line. Not directly to the X line. There are some questions we have been asked about the dip.
Yeah.
Some users have asked. We have here in Brazil, we have a pretty frequent habit of dipping corals for some hours. Also in medications like milbemycin.
Yeah.
Thinking about noxious copepods or animals like that, black bugs, white bugs. So people have been asked, should we do, thinking about copepods, thinking about flatworms, should we do exclusively the dip, or could we keep doing this extra dips with medication that we have been doing?
I must ask now something. It is usual in Brazil to use the biodip, like the US guys do. Is this usual in Brazil also?
You mean to have biotype tanks?
No, there's biodip. There's insecticide.
A biodip.
Yes, from bio insect killer, and people in USA using that as a dip.
Bayer. Okay, we don't have Bayer here. We have seen US people like to use that as a dip. We don't have that here.
They are totally crazy because these are neurotoxins, and they will keep on the coral, and when you put it back in the reef tank, it will go out from the skimmer, and you have it in all your apartment. These are really high toxic insecticides, which are forbidden in the whole European Union. So, and the US guys all putting there in their homes. So for us, it's absolutely not understandable. Dipping for corals, okay. The dip is made without oils, because I want to fight mostly against bugs, because the bugs are the much higher problem as all. Okay, the acropora flatworm is also a problem. The inspection of corals is very important today, because there is no more coral around which has no parasites, but all the bugs and the acropora eating, what's the name of them? Copepods. This brings a lot of problems in the reef tanks, and that's why I developed the dip a little bit different as the most the other ones, because the bugs are extremely hard against of oils. They look like they're dead, but they're still alive 15 minutes later. So you can put them even in a biodip, put them 15 minutes and bring them back to normal seawater, and then you see 15 minutes later they run around. We have a little bit an issue. We will bring soon a new recipe of the dip, a little bit better, which works then a little bit better on worms. They don't kill the worms, but they're falling faster up without having the problem with the bugs. Because the worms should be dipped different as the bugs. So this is a mixture than what we use. Normally 15 minutes is enough. And it's also okay if you use, instead of 50 milliliters, you can use also 30 milliliters of the dip and bath the corals in, and then shake it well, have a look, and then it's okay. It's not made at the end to kill the parasites immediately. It's only to make that they throw off, but it's make that they kill the bugs. The oil versions don't kill the bugs. They cut off the nerves and they sit on the cords like this, and after then they open and then they go away. And we need to destroy them. Sometimes the black bugs, very often in the red bugs, they hanging. They're hanging on the cords. They don't fall off. So and so that's the reason why they don't die, and that's why the dip is made. So in my opinion, which dip you use instead when it's no the dip there? Which dip is used in Brazil usually?
We have many, let's say, many brands of dip. All brands of dip. Let's say
sometimes they use
Revive,
medicine,
let's
right?
say Aquaforest, but yeah. But what I was meaning was that we usually use a dip, and we use very often two medications. One medication is for worms, that's levonisol for flatworms.
Yeah, but this not working. Levomisol is not working. It works sometimes one time. When you have luck, it works, and when it's one egg surviving, you can use it. You can use the second time, and you will see it will not work anymore. That's one of the problems what we have. We cannot buy, Reefer cannot use and buy or can get levomisol in Europe because it is completely forbidden. Like all worm treatments in the world. They are all under the list, and there is no worm treatment which you can buy on the free market. In US a little bit, yes, but not in all of the world. And I try it over 20 years, and it was always the same. Yes, the high amount we kill, but the second time it will never work. And then they are hardened again. So the worms are really, really, they drive me crazy at the end. So, and we still developed further on the AFAX to make it stronger, to make it better, as soon as we can without harming the laws. And the laws are there, so I cannot change that. And as a company in this size, which we are now, we cannot do things which goes against the law. They will we will have a lot of trouble, and also the importers or distributors, they must be the trusted that what we do is a making by law and will not have a toxic effect on the people who use it. For me, it's incredible what is sold, like the bio insecticide for the houses where kids playing around or have it this. So I really cannot understand. So worms is one problem, but toxic materials in an area where kids playing around or we're living, it's there I'm speechless.
And the other one we use that we make dips of 5 to 6 hour dips is that one milbemycin intercept but it's another medication.
No, that's much too long. Look, every coral you can inspect it. Every coral you can have a reef buster or like a spray. You can spray it around with water. You can inspect it exactly. You can look where are the eggs. You can see everything. Even if you take a glass, then you can see that. And if you take a bath, let me say, if you want to go very safe, then you go from 15 to 30 milliliters from the dip. You put it in for 5 minutes, shake it around, inspection, maybe a second time, and then go and then back to the reef tank. It isn't the problem of these dips was the oils, which we have before. It's not ever coming to Brazil. We have a product which calls pest control. There we work with oils and all the things like usual today, and I find out that every time when I dip the coral, it was affected more and more and more later from the parasites. So because the dips also harm the coral, and how more the coral is harmed, how less she has power to work against the pest. So the first, what I do when we get new corals, we do all the same. So when they come from Bali, we do an inspection of the coral. So we look if there are eggs in, we spray them with seawater around, we make a small bath and dip if we have the meaning there is something in, and then we put in a small quarantine tank. There we look after 4 to 6 weeks how they're going, do another dip and bring them. When we think all is okay, maybe remove the rock of it, and then we bring it to the tank. And then we never have a big issue anymore. As long as we buy like hell and we put it in, then we have some issues, right? But I'm not a fan for high toxic dips where we had with our hands inside and all things. So I'm not a big fan of it. Absolutely not.
Okay. Good to tell us. We had some less questions about the X lines, or do you think it's better for us to give Claude some time to show us the coral farm?
Oh, we can show. We talked, then I'll go upstairs, so it's okay. I'm good in time. So usually in Europe, this talk's taking 4, 5, 6 hours. So
No, don't worry. Are you listening me?
yeah.
Yeah, you listen me?
Yeah.
Because sometimes for me it's not showing my audio is okay. But anyway, Claude, if you want to just make a pause and go upstairs and just return into the video, the camera on, and then show the farm there upstairs, it's up to you. But I think, Paulo, we have like more questions on some topics as well, right?
Yeah, on the X line, can we ask you about that? On the
sure.
X line, there are questions on the purpose of using. First of all, reconnect. Is the idea of extra nutrition for corals that have been trained with amino acids and lipids? Is that the idea? Corals that have been trained or treated? We should.
The reconnects we do after we have damages on the cores. So when we have a lot of worms or bugs, and they are treated. So this is the Recon-X is the part of the other X versions which only strengthens the cores and not have the same effect like treating against the parasite or something like that. So this is why we do the Recon-X at the end. It's only for strengthens the core. That's it, and that the stuff grows better. So then we look if I can change the cam. Can I change the camera? Yes. No.
Okay.
So this is now on the second floor.
Yeah.
Oh,
so this starts here.
I see you have a pickle tank over there.
And these are all the breeding tanks. What we have here goes away. I will have to, if I find the filter.
Look at Billy's space.
So this is quarantine section here. All the new corals coming in here inside, and we keep it with T5 and radions.
This is the quarantine.
Yeah, we have absolute too less space at the moment. Give me 1 second. I will prepare the filter. So maybe we can have a better view.
Yeah, you put the length.
Yeah. So usually we do here. It's the tanks are 5 meters by 1 meter 60 and 40 centimeters 8. These two, and from this quarantine, when they're coming in, they stay for 14 days. Then they go to another one here. And here's mostly for breeding, Euphilia and Montipora we put together. In this area, we put the Zoanthus and the Shrooms. And all the others are for SPS keeping. So, in a second, let's cut off the power.
Yeah, the wave is not, Zoophilus.
Yeah. No, here is SPS. So we have 6 different systems. 4 are for SPS and for coloration.
Are they under T5s with LEDs?
Yes, always mixing. And here we do
Okay.
the here we do the coloration. Maybe you can see it quite good. Here we do the coloration of the different colors where we sell over the web shop. So we have actually we have about I think we counted 25,000 or 30,000 colors we have at the moment available here. And here you see that is now from Bali one. They are now ready. They can be sold. We make picture and we put it then in our store. So the dealers and private people can buy it. So most of them is what you see is what you get. Here are also some nice one. I cannot zoom. This is with camera is not possible, but here you can maybe see it's all full of SPS here. So, and every tank is 5 meters long. Here's another one. And here's also all from the shop. Here are the LPS then. So, it looks like
all the
US
systems
shops.
connected?
Sorry?
Are those systems connected or independent?
No, they're all, it's very simple how we use it. Look, here is the skimmer. The skimmer is on top, right? And the sump is down. So we don't use the skimmers and the sump because I want oxygenated water and I want to have a control. And this system and this skimmer is running since 2006. So we do the installment of the skimmer 2006. And since that time, they run. So the only thing what I do in filtration is like that. So we filter the water a little bit. And I have, where it is, here, we have a little bit of zeolites. And all the other is empty. Here also.
So simple system of filtration.
Yes, this is a method which we call it, it's an unstable. That means I don't use big filtrations. I use a little bit of carbon. I use a little bit of carbon and I use a little bit of zeolite and water change. And the system is unstable. When I want to do a change, I want it very fast. So we control it daily. And so I can do a very fast changing. So that's why it's no live rock in. There's only the plastic and the acrylic shields. There's a little bit of rocks, but only a handful of rocks, and that's it. I have it full of cores, and they keep it stable. Rocks and sand and surface, they don't keep it stable. So
zeolite is working on a reactor.
The zeolite is working on a reactor, right? It's cleaning 1 time a day. We clean the cores. So here is then, you see there's the Montiporas again. And here are some of our broodstock. So they have 50, 60 centimeters. And here also, you see. And
Claude,
it
is possible to stop the waiver pumps, so that we can just see the.
I just did it. It takes only a few seconds. So.
Okay, because that is those guys want to see like right now, see the corals. This is I think the peak point for the video. Just to see the corals and so on. Because the first time that I met you, because the first time that I met you, we were at the Jong facility, right?
Yeah.
Remember that 2 years ago?
Yeah,
and
I know.
And they use a lot of Fauna Marin product there, and the guy was very, very fun with us, and also give us the opportunity to visit and see the Fauna Marin products in like in a user way. So that was like a good impression of Fauna Marin products. So that I just sent to the guys. This is one of the coral form that the guy used some Fauna Marin products as well, but also you have your own, and this is the own for the your laboratory coral form. So this is something very good as well.
Yeah, that's we are the only company in the world which have the three parts using at the same time as a business. So some have some reef tanks which they show all the time, which is a show tank, but I don't have a show tank anymore because it was too much weight for the second floor, so I have to remove it. And now we wait that we can build our new shed, which is much bigger. Then we will restart with a show tank. But we concentrate us for breeding more, which I think it's for us at the moment more sensible as to have a big show tank. So we have also the same problems to get workers enough to find them, which people which have knowledge. So that's very difficult at the moment here.
So in these plates, you before starting sending a product, you do the tests on this area, right?
Yeah,
so,
we use it on our own. So this is the table where we mix it. The book. Here you can see the different tanks, and every day is testing and writing down every day from the year. You see, so we that, and on the other side we have then on the computer our ICP test, which we do daily.
Yep.
So, and on the other at the end of the wall here, you can see what we use. That's all the system is running with the bulling light, the calcium carbonate, a little bit of colorants, and some
there's no calcium reactor over there.
No.
The entire system
is
a bulling light.
And also the monkeys are growing.
Yeah. this Calvet loves.
And here is LPS system. It's here with Acanthastraea, Catalaphyllia.
So Paulo, it's destroying, let's say in this way, these understanding here in Brazil. If you have a lot of corals, you need a calcium reactor. Look that. Why?
For what?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know either. Claude, I said to many guys here, he doesn't have calcium reactors.
No.
But he doesn't have any thing against us. But he used to the bulling light.
I must say, I must really say that I will go off now because it's very loud and you're very hard to understand. I must say I hate calcium reactors. My personal thing is when I starting these reef keeping, we have the first calcium reactors, which was a mess. They are always damaged. The pumps are not made for, and always buying the CO2. Then it's the rusted of the gas bottles. And then what I really hate is the noise when a gas bubble comes into a pump, when it makes this. So I get absolutely crazy when I hear that noise. And then I had in the beginning here I buy some calcium reactors. This was the first Churans one, and really this is no joke. I throw them out of the window because I get angry, and it was a mess. And I hate gas, all the time, and it's always is rusting. And I think I can control much better the amount about the salts. For stores, for reefer with big tanks, we have special conditions, so they don't buy in 1 kilos. So for stores, so the tanks which are very big, we sell them for 25 kilos. This is a part which calls we have a system which calls big reef. There's no special packing. These are the pure salts without any mixing inside. And these guys in the stores, they're buying this.
So, and how about the parameters of your coral farm there? Because, you know, we have a lot of corals there. We saw that. And you are using body light. So the first thing that those guys like ask is, if you have a lot of corals like SPS and blah, 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 you need to have a higher carbonate level. So what you have, this is something here in Brazil, they want like 11, 10, 9, you know, they keep
Just by the
that.
way,
Hey.
it's not the opinion of our group. There are
Yeah,
people
I know
who
this.
say this.
Yeah,
What is
because
your opinion? What is your opinion on the alkalinity?
7.5 is great.
Why?
This,
You
to
can
me,
explain why?
yeah. To me, the more we have of alkalinity, the more SPS corals manage to grow their skeleton. But it's pretty hard to keep track of the soft part and of everything else they need, not just the skeleton. So it's pretty easy. They will grow faster, yeah, the skeleton, but it's pretty damn easy to lose track and start to have white tips everywhere, problems everywhere, and you still have to give them enough nutrients, enough nutrition to keep track with that high alkalinity. That's my opinion.
You know what is the natural level of alkalinity in the seawater?
7.
If I'm not wrong, it's 7. Sometimes below that, 6.5.
6.5. So we have a relation in, okay, if we take now seawater and it's cleaned and in lab clear view, we will have a relation. Let me say, when we have 35 salinity, we will have 6.6, 6.7 alkalinity in the seawater. So around 6.5. It is possible that we have small particles in. So with a standard test, we can find on the coast something with a 7.5, 8. But it shows also one of our issues. In near of the coast, where we have the particles and higher nutrients, we have also higher alkalinity. They're growing mostly LPS and that kind of corals. If we go in the outer reefs, where is a very clean water, we have a very low alkalinity and low nutrients. When you start with the SPS tank, then you can try one thing. Don't try it because it's a mess. Go up with your alkalinity on 10 and reduce your phosphate level on 0.02, and you will see that your corals blown away. They die. And it's a very simple thing. It depends where they come from. If I have Amazonas fish from the Amazonas, from the black water, I cannot put them in the African water. So this is water. It could be good. It's right the nitrate level, but they don't care. They need the acid. And on the other side, and that's the same with the corals. So at the end, 7.5 is really a good between when we have not too low phosphate level. If how lower the nutrients, how lower the alkalinity. But at the end, when you go on my website to this knowledge center, I have an article about the alkalinity and an article about the salinity line. And that's mean, according to the salinity, all the other elements, the calcium, the magnesium, the alkalinity, the potassium has to be in a relation. We human know that as 90, 60, 90. So that's a good relation. 60, 90, 60 is not a good relation, even not when you're 1 meter 48. That's a bad. So the relation is all. It does not matter if you have high nutrients, if you have low nutrients. It does not matter if we go high temperature, lower temperature, stability and relation. That's all. And if you keep it stable, the corals can grow here and can grow there. They look a little bit different. Okay, one grows a little bit faster, so they die faster. If they grow slower, they die slower. This is really not the point. The point is stability and the relations, to keep them stable. And if you do that, you can run the tank. So the 11 and how more corals, it does absolutely no matter. How more corals need more food and need more to add in, but not higher or lower. This is completely wrong. We keep them here between 6.5 and 8.5. We try to keep them stable. Now, due to the different weathers we had and the different temperature swings, it's quite difficult to keep it stable. So that's why I said in the beginning, the temperature is one of the most important things to keep the temperature stable. Then the other parameters are more easy to keep them stable. No, that's the point.
The main goal is to keep the stability of the system, right? So
stability.
Mm-hmm.
Inside the pyramid, but stability, not changing all the time. Even carbonate.
When you mean stability, let's say, I would like your opinion. We can kind of have the opinion on, let's say, what is most important for stability. For us, is top of it that is alkalinity. Then maybe phosphate.
It doesn't matter. Look, it does not matter if you drive on 7 or on 8 or on, let me say, 6.5 or an 8. It does absolutely no matter. This is only one number. Now it depends what is the calcium, what is the magnesium, and then let me say you have 440 magnesium, 400 potassium, 1300 magnesium, and 7 alkalinity. Then let it run on these parameters. If you buy Acropora tenuis, kind of Walt Disney, whatever, different colorations, they put in the reef tank and they grow. And now you make a mistake that your alkalinity level raises up to 12 and your phosphate level go a little bit down. 30 days later, you can throw the corals away. Millipora also. They died 30 days later. And you can do what you want, they die. Only the change in the alkalinity causes this, because these corals don't know any change in the water chemistry, because they are growing more outside. There is no change in the sea. The sea is always the same, and there's also at night not less current. There's no less pH. There's no less carbonate. The only different what they have is a little bit more or less food. That's it. So, and they have a lot of food. This is the other point. Our problem what we have. They have a lot of food. They can feed the whole day. There's a study where students try to find out how many food is available in a square meter of a reef. And they detected about 200 or 300 reefs and detected the available food. When we bring it down to 1,000 liters, what do you think? How many food is available in a healthy coral reef within of 24 hours? Available, so all the minerals are out. What do you think?
Right.
How many food is available for 1,000 liters? Which is a standard reef tank.
Yeah,
in a day, for example.
It's 2 kilograms of available food within the water. So, I really thought about it, how I can get 2 kilos food in my reef tank during the day, but actually I must say I have still no idea how I can solve this problem. In fact, this is exactly what we have for an issue. We say the corals, yeah, you have a bad water and you get nothing to eat. So be happy. So this is what we said to them. Nothing more. Even the light is shit at the end. So
people often say, oh, but the ocean reefs are pretty clean. Nutrients are low. No. Actually, nutrients are low, but nutrition is pretty damn high, isn't it?
They're living, like I said, they're living in a 5-star hotel on top of the mountains with the best food you can buy. So that's where they live. So when I live there, I will get 100 years old. But our corals living in Manila in the slums. So they have nothing to eat. They have no good air to eat, and they're living in the shit. And that's clear why they die with 40 years. No, that's the same. That's nothing different what we do. And we turn the shit of the corals, we turn it around. It's not a wave coming, bringing fresh water all 5 seconds and bringing fresh food. This is not the way what we do. We do reef keeping. We have a reef tank and we try to keep them alive. That's all what we do, nothing more. That's why I cannot work with systems or with parameters which look only for the natural water and on parameters which are based from a lab test. The laboratory test don't see what is in plankton, what is in particles, what is in dithars. The very small carbonate particles which are in the sea in amazing amounts, helping clams and corals for growing. They're taking also particles and use that. That's not only the diluted calcium, the diluted alkalinity which is there. And that's that's the difference why when I go with a normal aquarium standard test to the sea and I make a test, I detect 8.5 alkalinity. When I look to the official lab report, they say 6.5. So, but why it is? They take the water outside in the deep, then they clean it, then they sterilize it, then they filter it, and then they do the test. Our corals don't live in this kind of water. That's also why I don't use the amount in the ICP test. I use the amount which we need in an aquarium. And that's something different. This has nothing to do with the open reef. This is something completely different.
Good.
And this must be understand. And if you understand that, you know why there is a all-in-one system is always a little bit a problem. And it's always normally you must say not the right way to go for a reefer, which really think about and want the best for his corals, because this kind of people, they look for where the coral come from which area they come from, which corals I can put together with which other animals they need to live together, and they don't buy the corals only for the color or only for the fun. These we call aquarium owners. Oh. These people sometimes which buy a plant, 2 weeks later they go back and asking why it's dead, and they said you have to give him water, and say, but there's no manual, you know. So and today these people, they talking so much over Facebook, over Instagram, whatever, and giving their experience and explaining other people tanks, and have themselves the reef tank only half a year. So for a beginner, it's extremely difficult to find out which people is experienced and which people is not. And the experienced people, they say mostly no. They say, no, don't do that. Do that on that way. Have patience. Invest a little bit in a better food. And they say, this guy is ugly. Is this boring? He says no and no and no. So sure, they want to hear to this. But this is the normal way, actually. You know.
Sometimes they want miracles. Just one, just put one product there and making a miracle. Solve my problem at all, at once. This is not in a daily life.
You have
keeping. You have to exercise day by day and see because all the tanks are unique. They are not the same, right? So I have some corals from different places of the world. So sometimes I have more from Indonesia or more from Australia, whatever, And for the other guy, he has only from Indonesia. So why? So you have to say that my experience is going to work with yours. Doesn't make any sense, those guys want to do like that. Okay, just give me the miracle, and I'm gonna put in the aquarium, my tank, and everything's going to be solved, and I'm gonna be happy. It's not like that, in my opinion.
Look,
correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, but you must see this is the easy way. When you have I think I can understand a bit, like we have here now, we had the pandemic situation. So my father died. My 3 kids were at home. So many people are a bit under pressure, sometimes only emotional, sometimes due to the work. And sure, they're easy for a simple solutions. You see in the politics, you see in USA, you see wherever. And there are enough people who sell this easy solution first. And it is easier to follow this at the first step. I think this is quite normal. And I think it is also that we have these people who have the experience have to take care of this and has to explain it or make the videos and say, hey, look, we have sensitive animals. We want to keep them alive, and to find out who wants a solution or not. Like you start today with this guy with this AFVX. The funny thing is that I have the same discussions with him on an US account. So let us look at the situation at the end. At the end, one guy buying a product wanted a solution. So this product now for him doesn't work. Instead of contacting the company first, he is written in the US. So we are in Germany, they write in a US forum, even not in our message board. So how I can see that there is a problem? I can't. So means then it will be officially discussed. There was not one point to find out, okay, what can be the reason that in your tank this is not working? Then we offer, say, show me the pictures, show me the things. With my experience, I can help you to get rid of these animals, to find out what is. But we never have the possibilities to show or to help. It was only, it's written, it has to be. So I have still no idea how is the tank, which type of corals are infected, if they're all corals, some corals, if we have really worms, we even don't know. All the things are not happened. Then a few weeks later, the discussing starting in Brazil. If you don't inform me, I still didn't know it in front. So I have no idea. When my car have a problem, I go to the car company. I say, here, I buy the car at your place. I have a problem. Can you repair it? I will not go with my BMW to Porsche and say, here's my BMW has an issue. What will Porsche say? They say, hey, you don't buy a car from us. Go there. So in all over the world, it is normal that the people going first directly. I can understand that the people go out when we said now you're too stupid or we don't help him or make a bad service. Okay, I can understand the people go out, but I cannot understand why they discuss a problem which nobody can solve because the most people don't have the experience instead of going to the dealer or then to the company. So when your dealer go to distributor contacting me, we solve the problem for the guy. And the funny thing is, I know exactly how to solve it. If 6 weeks ago, he talked with me and give me the few informations. He will be pest free now, but now he has still the problem. So I'm absolutely not sure it was real or not. So maybe today you have no idea if the people are real or not real or whatever. So how
in a good way or in a bad way? Or I agree with you. So we try to solve the problem. We try to have the opportunity to solve the problem, and sometimes the guy just say, "No, I don't want it. I just want to blame you." So what we can do?
That's
sometimes. But anyway, this is something that we need to.
I believe we have keeping Claude here for about 3 hours. Maybe if we keep him too longer.
If you have questions, we can talk. All is good, no problem.
I told you, man. The guy said, okay, 2 hours for him is a piece of cake. Just see if you guys are have something to do and are busy, we can just finish and maybe we can just arrange another one just to finish that. It's up to you guys. Claude, just one question that I remember right now regarding to the Biling light set. The calcium solution, we add like the trace 1 and 2. 25 milligrams, and like later on we see this precipitation on the bottom of the canister.
Yeah.
Do we need to mix again or keep there because this is the iron that was in the place? What do we need to do?
That's when you that's a question of the status of the solution, how many gases inside, and is there a bit less or more? So you have maybe no precipitations or a little bit. Let it stay down. The next time you make it mix, you flash it away and that's it. So you don't need it in the reef tank.
Don't need it because you know this one doubt that came out. You know, do you need to mix again? You know, because there are some elements there now. This is something that was in a bottom that is nothing to do else. So just dosing the liquid part.
Yeah, it is a part of the, also when it's get older, when it's get a little bit more oxygen over the time, then this happens because we have a really saturated solutions, really, really close. What that's possible, it's a high concentration, and depending on temperature, depending on oxygen level, depending on gas status of the water you use as a gas pressure status, it's possible that you have that a little bit or not. If you don't like it, then add a little bit less of the two. So you go to 20 milliliters instead of 25. That's mostly also enough. And then you have less of it. We are really on the border with that kind of dosing. We have, I think 80% don't have this and 20% have it. But I never see any disadvantages in this reef tank who has this. And here in my system, it's very strange. We use reverse osmotic. But during spring until early summer, we have that also sometimes, and the rest of the years we don't have it.
So keep the same.
I don't care. I think I learned it very fast that to look too deep in one point let us forget to see the whole system, and this is more important instead of a little bit there, a little bit there. So
that's why, you know, for us it's very important to know from you that there is no problem at all on these, because you know the guy just buy a binding light set kit with us, and then so okay, I started using, then I just figured out that on this solution we had this. Is something wrong that I did? No, you did everything correctly, just to come out, because you know the guy sometimes is anxious, you know, on these situations. So I just need to come out.
I write it in the manuals. So in every manual that be explained, and that's why we write always the numbers are RTFM. You know that? On the manuals, when we write RTFM, that means read the fucking manual.
Yeah, but you know, sometimes it's just you know, it's a joke between us. But you know, those guys sometimes become angry with, you know, these kind of jokes. But anyway, also we did not talk about the aqua home tests, you know, because this product I'm going to send it to those guys that we are on this meeting, and they're going to start to testing. But it is just an opportunity if you can just talk about the 5-1 that we have: calcium, magnesium, and carbonate, and the potassium, and nitrates, and nitrite, and also the phosphate. You know, we have these, right? So we are available here in Brazil, all these tests, also with the ICP test as well. So if you can just tell about each one, it's a good opportunity as well, just to explain to each one, because one of them, the calcium and magnesium, those guys have some difficulties on because it's a light blue turned to a white. You know, I just ask George to make a video, and then put the videos in YouTube. But the precision of that was very, very, very good, because since you got the way to turn from light blue light to white, then you get the results. And if you do at high speed, just like the difference is like 5%. So it's a very small range of the difference.
Yeah, but this is the goal. The CA test is that much better if you have this kind of colors. How stronger the colors, how less good it is.
Yeah, that was
so,
the answer from George.
Yeah, there are two important tips for the calcium, and we do it also in the Fauna Marin video. We do one of them. The first thing is do that under natural sunlight. So if you do it in natural sunlight on a white piece of paper, you can see it good. And do it in the morning in one day. The reason with blue is following. When we work the whole day in front of a computer, or we work first in the aquarium and then make the test, you have no possibility to see the blue because our eyes working like a camera, turning the blue off, that we can look better. So doing test is Sunday morning when the family is still sleeping and you are quiet and you don't have looked before in blue light, then you can see the blue very easily, but you cannot see it at night. So then I do in the video, I said, I got some very nice reaction on that. I said, ladies are due to this way that they are ladies, they can see blue much better than we can. So if a girl make a water test, she can see it better. Definitely, yeah, it's true. And
I noticed that
proof. And so I said to them, let's make the water test to your wife because they can make it better. So some of the girls stated then that we only say this because we don't have fun to do the test, which is also absolutely correct, but it is really scientific proof that they can see better. We can see better yellow as men usually. So the water test
have a doctor. We have a doctor here. Paulinho is a doctor. He can just explain to us later in Portuguese why this. But you know, there is another tip that that one guy said to me. It's a friend of mine, because it's easy to see the blue when you move it. When you stop, it's more difficult to see the changes from blue, light blue to white. This is something that makes sense as well, you know. And I did it, and makes sense and happened. So this is another tip as well, you know, because those guys want to do like at home at night and with artificial light. So this is sometimes completely difficult.
The chemical possibilities to create a test are not very there are not many. There are only a few. So all the colorimetric tests working first on the same base of chemicals. What is the difference? What we can do is we can buy special dropper, which have more accurate drops. We can use a concentrated reagent to have a better working on it, and we can use special bottles which don't have the problems that they release titanium or other things in the reagent. That's the only thing what you can do, and you can do it especially for seawater. So that means the reaction on another point, setting on another coloration. But all the colorimetric tests are very sensitive against different types of organic compounds, of elements, which can be in the water also. It is not easy at the end to control water perfectly and scientific correctly is really not easy. You need to learn that. That's why we have the reference solution. The reference solution helps you to find out if I test correctly, if I use correctly the dripper, if I use correctly the syringes, if I clean the glasses properly. It is really not that simple. Also here I can understand you can buy a calcium test for €2 or something like that today, and the people say it's easy, 5 drops and done. But it makes a difference if you keep the bottle a really straight line, or you keep it on that way. So this depends then on the size of the drops, and this depends then on the value you can get. I hate testing. So I hate I hate testing like hell. Really, I have not the time and the patience. So I get mad. So that's why I buy the lab. This is an ICP machine, and I read it, and then I'm out of this because I really hate the testing. So what I try is I buy the best dripper what we can buy. So even such these droppers for some of these tests costs me for one dropper more than some people selling the whole test. And I do the plastics that you can see inside better, and I try to do as possible what I can do. At the end, it's a colorimetric test. There's good, and it needs to be trained a little bit to find out the right levels on that. And you must accept it that sometimes a test, we find that some dealers put the test on the lamps before they sell it. They will be cooked 4 or 5 times with 80 degrees, so these tests are damaged. So they cannot work anymore. Some of the users taking the test in the fridge and go then out and tested the water and be wondering why they show 1 or 2 less alkalinity or other problems. So it is really not easy. The test must be room temperature. The probe have to be room temperature. You must work very proper, and you have to be the eyes for it to see the changes or the colorations. And I would say that 90% of all discussions of the tests all over the world are not that the chemical is not working, because the chemicals are all the same. So the chemicals always work. There's no reason for a reagent not to react, right? So that means there must be another mistake, and that's mostly the too long transport, or the wrong transport of the products, or the wrong storage. So much too much heat or much too cold. The nitrate test kit is in this case sensitive one. So when we ship it with the container, we pack them always inside the box so that they are covered with all the products around, so that they have not big temperature changes. So, but when they freeze, which we have in Russia and in Ukraine and in China, we always have during winter that they freeze. You can forget them. Once they freeze, they never show the right level.
The right level.
We go up to 20% mistake. This happens that one guy from Hong Kong say, I have no problem with the test, it's very well. Like, okay, in Hong Kong it's 20 degrees, nothing is freezing. And the guy in Peking is blaming that all the tests are shit. And I try to explain him that every test is the same, so I cannot make a mistake in the reagent, because we also buy the reagents. These are made by high professional chemical companies. We are much too small to produce a reagent. I can only choose the right bottles, the right drippers, and can test it out and can do this work, but I cannot produce a reagent solution. But I must say also their human working. Even with these high professional big companies, and I talk really from very big companies, we had very strange results in the lab with a new machine, and we had no idea how this can happen. We sent the machine back to the company, they tested, they said everything is okay. And my girl saying, we are not stupid, we worked with these machines till 3 years. And we're using the old reagents, the calibration solution, the old ones. We buy new ones and they take the old ones. With the old one, the machine works. With the new ones, they don't work. So now we find out that they deliver us, there's a mistake in the calibration solution, and this kills the complete machine. So and cost me three weeks, because nobody believing that maybe there was a mistake inside. So it is always where human working is possible that a mistake happens. There's no way it's 100%. The most important also here to find out what has happened. Then there's also batch numbers on it, and we can check it here if you find out. And so you can talk with the customers or with the people. Okay, let me check. Maybe on the transport something wrong. Then make the customer happy. Give him a new one, definitely. But also check if they make something wrong, because then you have no possibilities to change that.
Yeah. We had this situation here with the chorus sprint, you know,
Yeah.
because those guys, I told you, you know, but it was a problem of storage, you know. The guy just opened I think opened the tap, and the seal was removed just a little bit, and the humidity comes from that phase fend, you know, and that's it. So that was a problem. So the guy said, oh, this is damaged. Oh, man, I can give you another one, so don't worry about it. So this is part of our job to solve these situations, you know, in order to make the guy happy and so on. So sometimes, you know, we have to get the solution this way, but sometimes there is nothing we can do.
But you know, the funny thing is, the sprint is better when it looks like that. So
yeah, this Paulinho, remember what Gil said?
That's why we all said, please, Guto, bring all those ones who
And
are
give
in the
it to you guys.
situation, give to us.
Yeah. And
When
I
you-
said, and the guy
I'll
said,
gladly
because you
throw
know
in my
it's like a gum, a gum, you know, a gum, and said, oh man, my chorus sprint looked like a gum, and works perfectly. Say,
yeah,
okay,
it
man. So
works.
sometimes
It
the guy say,
works.
no, because it's a pounder. I want to. So, okay, when you receive, it's going to be a pounder. But when you open, you know, and if you just keep it in inside of the aquarium, the sump and the whatever, with a full of humidity, becomes a gum.
I know.
No.
Yeah.
So we had a client here. The girl said, "I bought the coral sprint and I put in a bag and seal it. When I want to use, I open it. It's the same. So this is the tips that we can give to the guys in order to keep pounder. But anyway, this is something that, you know, day by day we can just see the situation and solve, and so that we have the answer and can guide those clients and so on. So this is something that I think the proposal for this group is like that, Claude. You know, we try the products, see the results, and also gather all this information in order to explain those guys.
When the bottles coming in, when the custom situation, and we have to transport more faster, I put some dry bags in the sprint inside. So usually when it's closed and the dry bag is working there, then they keep it as a powder. The funny thing is really that if you store the sprint 1 year, so it becomes really this like a gum. And I put it in a mixer with water and mix it till it's completely diluted, and then I make ice cubes. So I use it then as a base. I add a drop of Mines and this skimmer. I put it in ice cubes. So, and I do the dosing like 1 ice cube a day for my reef tank. Then I take the ice cube, throw it in, and that's it. Due to this decomposition of the sprint, it works better as older it is. But you cannot sell this. I tried to fix it. It does not work anymore.
Yeah.
So as soon as chemicals, it's done. So it's not good working, and I did not find a solution yet to say I produced the gum without too many chemicals I need to keep it stable. Till now, I didn't find it. Some people say I want to do it to a liquid, but there's the same problem. As soon as I have a liquid, it's open for bacteria and for not mushrooms, how it's called, for fungi. And so it rotten very fast, or I have to add a lot of chemicals. But then all the tests shows as at the moment I add this, I have no more the effect, and I have issues then to create the situation what sprint can do. So I work on it. Maybe I find one when I have time to do product development and not only customs development. Then maybe.
But anyway, Claude, those guys, they need like some another meetings and another things to do.
We can do.
No, but I think all of them. So we would like to thank you for this time. Okay, probably we can just arrange like like in a few months later another meeting like that, just to not to explain to everything, but just to focus on some new questions that came up, and maybe new products that you are selling, so maybe some new doubts can come up, so Paulinho, you can say all thanks to Claude as well, and
So Claude,
for me it's
yeah,
a pleasure, to have Claude in this meeting, because it's an open book guy that we
yeah,
can learn a lot.
we're
Not
pretty
even,
honored to have you
yeah.
with us.
It's only really
Uh,
special.
it's a pretty hard learning day. We will have to watch this over and over.
No,
Yeah.
let us do what makes more fun. So
Probably in the future, Claude, we can just arrange a visit to your facility, as I did like twice, right?
Brazil, that's much better when I go to Brazil. So
No, but
Yeah.
we can just exchange that. You can just come on over once, and we can go there as well, because there we can see the ICP lab, visit the farm, and talk to this funny guy that George is, because I have a lot of fun with him by chatting. I would introduce George to those guys. And you can see the guy, he's a Jeep driver, he's just bought one, right? But anyway, so let's see this in the future, as soon as this pandemic is about to end, and everything got to our normal life, and then we can just travel back and forth and go there to meet you physically, and have another learning day.
in May 22 is the Interzoo in Nuremberg. This is 200 kilometers away from our area, so quite close. And for people who are very interesting, the Interzoo is very special and very interesting, because many people are coming around the world, and now we have 2 times, which is not there. So I thought that we will have a lot of visitors there, and we will make also booths there. So and I'm sure that the most countries in the world will open the border step by step, which just happens here, because good, there are a lot of people vaccinated. But I think in spring 22 it will be more and more get open, because I'm sure they cannot block everything the next.
Yeah, for the next year, right? But
Creating.
also but next to your facility has the Mercedes and Porsche, the
Mercedes, Audi, we have all the nice car series.
yeah, no, because because the last time I just landed at Stuttgart, right?
Yep.
So and you picked me up there, and we went to your facility. So we can go to your facility, and after that do the tourism on all this place, because Germany is very good,
We go to the Porsche Museum. That's very strange.
Yeah.
If you like fast cars, then you can see there are a lot of very nice.
Let's arrange this, Paulinho.
Great.
Separate
Will be a nice
separate
time.
15 days in your agenda. Abilio as well, Alvarenga, all of them, just gather some money, for the
Okay.
next year. We can just go to a Fauna Marin ambassadors, right? To go to Germany in order to visit and do this tourism, It's
then
going to
maybe
be
you
my
can
pleasure to take you guys there.
Yeah, was
Will
a
be
pleasure for me.
amazing.
Was a really pleasure for me. Many thanks that I have the possibilities, and I really love that. So if you like, we can do that next time. Maybe we can talk about ICP especially, or about other things. So we go more special on one side. So that you write me email what you need, and then we will find a day. I can also do it early in the morning, so that for you guys it's at night, or we change it like that. So for me it's not a problem. I have fun with that.
Thank
Okay?
you, Claude.
Really,
Thank
I
you,
love
man.
that.
Have a good one too.
Thanks.
Bye
Bye-bye.
bye.
Thank you, Claude.
Thank you, Claude.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Fica aqui, Ana Paulina.
Aí, deixa eu dar um stop aqui. Deixa eu dar um stop aqui, peraí. Já vou encerrar a transmissão aqui no YouTube, tá? Tava ao vivo, ó, tô brincando, tava não.
Uhum.
Aí,
Cara, eu falei para vocês, ele